Over black, we hear an AM radio tuning. Static. Unrecognizable bits of distorted broadcasts. Then, a song. The song continues into Exterior, Monongahela National Forest, West Virginia. Day. It's a green summer day deep in the mountainous woods. Merle Haggard and the Carter family keep singing their gospel tune. A rusty red Geo Metro winds down a road. It passes a sign that reads Monongahela National Forest, U.S. Department of Agriculture. Interior, Geo Metro, continuous. The music is now coming from the car radio. In the back of the car, suitcases, a backpack, some dirty clothes. It looks like someone lives out of this car. Aubrey Little drives the Geo. She's 27, Puerto Rican, a shock of fiery red hair, a tatty denim vest, plaid slacks, pierced ears, pierced eyebrow. She taps her fingers on the steering wheel to the music. Aubrey looks over to the passenger seat. An animal carrier sits there, and inside it, a white rabbit. It peers out at Aubrey, and she smiles back warmly. A little more static and fuzz on the radio now. Aubrey frowns, looking at the car stereo. Exterior, Monongahela National Forest, continuous. The signal grows ever more faint. We pull up and away from the Geo Metro. We soar over the trees, cresting a hill to reveal a distant white structure. As we get closer, the structure is revealed to be the Green Bank Radio Telescope. Standing 485 feet tall, most of its bulk looks like an enormous satellite dish, supported by spidery white struts. As we approach it, the radio signal that carried our Southern Gospel tune fades to static. The signal is lost. Our title appears on screen. Amnesty. Interior, Geo Metro, continuous. Aubrey twists the tuning knob on the radio. Nothing but static. She clicks it off. She picks up her smartphone, which shows no service. Feeling lost, Aubrey sees a sign for a tourist trap called the Cryptonomica. She pulls off the mountain highway and soon finds herself in Kepler, West Virginia, a small town tucked away in the Monongahela National Forest. We go to the Cryptonomica. It's a cross between an art gallery and a museum, a collection of curiosities with lots of focus on cryptid lore. We meet the owner, Ned Chicane. He's in his 50s, and he's dressed how you think a cryptid museum owner might dress. A woman walks in. She's solidly built, kind of grizzled, in her 60s. Ned calls her Mama. Mama is there to read the headlines on the cryptid zines that Ned sells. She seems to be looking for something specific. But then, Aubrey walks into the Cryptonomica to ask for directions. When Aubrey mentions that her phone doesn't get any signal, Ned explains that Kepler and the surrounding area is inside the National Radio Quiet Zone due to the scientific research happening at the Green Bank Radio Telescope. Aubrey asks how to get to the nearby Snowshoe Mountain Resort because she's booked a gig there. Mama overhears this conversation and looks at Aubrey with quiet suspicion. Unable to afford a warm bed for the night, Aubrey camps in the woods. She feeds and pets her rabbit, whom she calls Doc. She lights a fire, cracks open a tall can of beer, and starts to practice a card magic routine. Just as things start to get a little too quiet and creepy, who should arrive but District Ranger Duck Newton. He scares Aubrey, and when she yelps in fear, her campfire suddenly flares up. They have a contentious conversation about her illegal campfire and her alcohol possession. He makes her pour out all her beer on the fire, gives her a couple of glow sticks, and goes on his way. The next morning, Aubrey drives up to the nearby Snowshoe Mountain Resort. There's a big summer event there, drawing lots of tourists. The parking lot is full, so she parks on the shoulder of a sloped road. At the resort, there's a carnival atmosphere. Aubrey performs a magic routine for onlookers, but her tricks don't draw much attention. Her rabbit may be cute, but the clowns are getting bigger crowds. Aubrey goes for something a bit more dramatic. Her fire tricks. But when Aubrey spots Mama in the crowd, her fire trick goes very wrong, very quick. It's clear that whatever went wrong was not natural. It was the result of something supernatural. The fire is put out quickly and no one is hurt, but Mama confronts Aubrey, And as Aubrey is trying to leave, we see that the Geo Metro's parking brake has failed, and the car has now tumbled into a ravine. It is totaled. But as luck would have it, Mama is actually totally cool. She offers Aubrey a ride back to Kepler, and also offers Aubrey a place to stay. That place is called Amnesty Lodge, and Mama is the proprietor. While it also operates as a hotel, Amnesty Lodge is home to a pleasant group of exiles from a world called Sylvain. Sylvain has shared a link with Earth for many, many years, which has caused an odd side effect. Many sylphs look like anthropomorphic animals. Some are mostly human-looking with some animal traits. You could easily mistake them for vampires or werewolves or Sasquatch or even the Mothman. So to blend in, sylphs wear magic bracelets to mask their inhuman features. Mama recognizes that Aubrey carries nascent magical abilities, the likes of which have only been seen on Sylvain. That is, until now. Earth's link to Sylvain is a stone archway hidden in the Monongahela National Forest. About once every 2 months, a monster seems to come out of the gate. Years ago, Mama struck a deal with Sylvan royalty to hunt and kill these monsters, but she's getting a little old for that. Together, Aubrey, Ned Chicane, and District Ranger Duck Newton will find themselves suddenly immersed in a world of magic and monsters. Kepler is a peaceful mountain town, but our heroes will have to fight to keep it that way. Amnesty is based on the second major story from the popular role-playing podcast The Adventure Zone, created by and hosted by the McElroy brothers and their dad, Clint. The story they told was based in a game called Monster of the Week, which takes inspiration from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Supernatural, and other shows of that ilk. But in adapting Amnesty to television, it'll be less Monster of the Week and more Monster of the Season. In that way, it's structurally similar to Stranger Things, but our main characters are all grown-ups, so Amnesty doesn't really aim for a preteen audience. Every season of Stranger Things is structured like a movie, but it's stretched out over additional running time. Amnesty is not going to be like that. This show is going to be told Damon Lindelof style. And I don't mean mystery box. What I mean is that every single episode is going to focus on a single character and will mostly be told from their perspective. The pilot episode, for instance, is an Aubrey episode. Now, the McElroys got a lot of shit for splitting the party in Amnesty. Their previous big story, which is the one that got the Adventure Zone popular in the first place, was all about the party dynamic, and the main characters were hardly ever split up. But in this format, splitting the party is actually healthy. We're going to get more insight into who these characters are as individuals. Still, the group dynamic is really important, and it's certainly not my intention to neglect it. Amnesty is a funny horror fantasy. It's not as raunchy as, say, like Ash vs. Evil Dead, but it does feature some gore and profanity. If you were to adapt the podcast literally, it would be R-rated, but it doesn't have to be. In fact, it probably shouldn't be. I can see a version of this on, say, the CW, but I can also see a version of this for the big streaming services like HBO Max or Amazon Prime or Hulu or Netflix. Amnesty is really ambitious with its genre elements, and I think it would require a Stranger Things level of budget and VFX to be at its best. Our pilot episode ends on the next night. Mama offers Aubrey a job and a home at Amnesty Lodge. The moon is full. We find District Ranger Duck Newton at his station in the forest when he sees a blue-green glow in the woods. The same color as the glow sticks he gave Aubrey. He follows the glow into the woods but finds himself in front of a huge stone archway. A strong wind blows out of it and he hears something approaching fast, huffing, growling, coming right for him. Duck wakes up in his ranger station. He's had a vision. He's sweating profusely, shaking. But then the blue-green glow appears in his doorway. The source of the blue-green glow is a woman, or rather, a projection of a woman. Her features are kind of masked by the projection, but we can see that her hair is buzzed close to her scalp, and she has the lean build of a warrior. With blazing blue-green eyes, she smiles at Duck and says, "Hello, Wayne."